Okay, so this is just a water filter video. I was waiting for Jim to catch up with me so that we could go over the platypus that he has. So I have switched from the Katadyn Be free back to the Sawyer. This is just a normal Sawyer. It's not the mini or the micro. So basically with the Katadyn, it just was not working anymore. I'd done the shake to clean plenty of times. Whenever we were in Wrightwood, which was like mile 366, I even got some diluted white vinegar and let it sit in that, shook it, cleaned it multiple times. It worked okay for a day or two after, and then the flow rate just started to crap out on me again. So in Tehachapi, which is mile 566, I switched back to the Sawyer. I had the Sawyer on the Appalachian Trail. I only used one the entire time. The back flush method works really well. This is a newer Sawyer model just because it's got the sport cap now. Usually they used to have like a pool cap. I don't really care for this sport cap. It's convenient now, but it's very flimsy, and Honey Bears has already broken off. Like I was carrying our water bottles and it dropped and hit the ground and it just popped off. Whenever you're out here, you just want gear that's reliable, and I've trusted the Sawyer before, so I knew that it would work well. The really good benefit about a Sawyer is it can fit on any smart water bottle, so it just screws on. It doesn't need like a proprietary squeeze thing. I can't think of the word, but like the Katadyn, the bottle is a Katadyn specific bottle, so you can't just switch it between different bottles. So if that one craps out, you have to buy a whole new thing. Smart water bottle is like $250, so you know they last for a while. The flow rate's pretty decent. So I've had this one for about 200 miles now, and I'll kind of give a same demonstration where that's no pressure and then that's adequate pressure. So I think that that's a really good flow rate. I really did enjoy the Katadyn. It was nice because the bottle, I thought it would get on my nerves with how like non-rigid it was, but once it was filled up, it was really easy to use. It was really easy to drink from while I was walking because I didn't have to tilt all the way up like you do sometimes with the Sawyer. So I really like that about it, but just reliability in the field. I think a Katadyn is a piece of gear that you have to baby more. So if you're doing like shorter trips, like 100 to 300 miles, and once you get home you can kind of clean everything out, I think that would prolong the lifeline of it. But on something like a through hike, I just don't want to fidget with it that much. I'm gonna take this.
Yeah.
So one thing with the Platypus versus the Sawyer, so they're very similar, but the Platypus feels a lot more rigid, a lot more heavy duty. The sport cap has just like a little notch in it, so the plastic feels good. It's very grippy, whereas this, as I mentioned, just it's very flimsy. Like this thing's just kind of waiting to break. So I would say I would use the Platypus. The Platypus has the same filtration method that the Katadyn had. So these little fibers are the exact same thing that the Katadyn used for filtration. The Sawyer, I'm assuming, is the same. With the Sawyer O-Rings, a lot of people lose theirs, and that's usually because whenever you first get it and you don't know what you're doing, you over tighten it, and over time, as you over tighten it, it squeezes off these little teeth. The teeth break off and then the O-ring falls out. So if you ever hear people complaining about the O-ring, that's most likely what it is. It happened a lot on the Appalachian Trail in the first 100 miles. No one knew how to use their gear properly, and everyone was just breaking those teeth on the O-ring. So any of these three water filters I would recommend. It's up to you what you want to take out in the field, but these two I think have proven themselves to be the most reliable so far.
Okay. This is the Platypus Quickdraw. It's a new filter that came out to the public, I think, in early April. At least that's when I bought it. Very similar to the Sawyer Squeeze. It goes on the bottle the same way. It fits all of the Smart Water, Life Water bottles. It fits on the Sawyer bags as well. Has a proprietary O-ring that doesn't fall out like the Sawyer. Has a flip cap that keeps like the clean side clean, which is really nice. It also comes with a like lid, like a screw top that goes on this end, but since my filter just lives on my bottle normally, I just toss it. So yeah, life water bottle, same as smart water bottle, just screws right on, just like everyone else does with their Sawyer Squeezes. Works the exact same way. The only difference is you can't back flush it like a Sawyer. It cleans kind of the same way as a Katadyn Be, where you just like shake it a bunch like this. And when you do it and like your filter is dirty, this is a brand new one, you can just see all the dirt come out into the water. So works really well. The one I've had for the last 700 miles on the PCT has lost very little flow. It's worked great. I've only done the shake to clean method twice, and the second time I only did it because I went to a really nasty water source and got a lot of dirt and rocks and stuff in it. Other than that, it's worked great. The other great thing about it is there's a way to test to see if it still works. So sometimes people worry about their Sawyer freezing and you're not sure if it's been compromised or not, but you can take the filter and you can actually screw off this part here and see the actual like membrane inside. You can kind of see that. Here's the other end too, just to show you. And what you do is you squeeze some water up through it, and if there's consistent bubbles coming through, then the filter doesn't work anymore and you need a new one. Kind of the same way with the Sawyer Squeeze, where you don't want it to freeze overnight. That's really the one thing that causes them to not work anymore. But I don't know exactly what the flow rate is as far as liters per minute, but I've never had an issue with it being good flow. Let me see if I can just kind of show you. It's like that's just barely squeezing it, and then that's a decent squeeze. And then you kind of, you know, the same way with the Sawyer. Yeah, works great. Haven't had any issues with it, and I'm gonna keep using it. The other thing unique with the Platypus filter is the proprietary threading on the outside. For this, you need to buy a Platypus unique bag. So you can see it's threaded on the inside where you can like screw it onto a smart water bottle, but also on the outside. For this, Platypus sells, I know, a 1 liter bag. You actually buy it as a combo. I think it's only $10 more than buying just the filter. But it threads on the outside, and what that means mostly is that the bag has a wider mouth, which makes it a lot easier to fill in like rivers and streams and stuff. One of the common complaints with Sawyers is the bags that come with it are trash, is what I would say, and it's really hard to fill with that like tiny hole. So the Platypus bag that's 1 liter just has a wider mouth and is a lot better. And also just the grippiness of the Platypus is really nice too, and it's just durable feeling, so I really like that.
Okay, that's it.